Hello friends, welcome to Insights ICANN initiative. The today's topic is Cocos Island, and in this topic we are going to discuss about where this Cocos Island is present, and Cocos Islands also known as Keeling Islands, and the relationship between India and Australia also we are going to discuss. First, before we further discuss, let us examine how the syllabus mapping is going to be. First, we look at the syllabus mapping. This is very relevant in IR point of view, and in terms of current affairs and GS paper 2 mains, and if your option is PSIR, then obviously it will help in your PSIR paper 2B, India and so neighborhood countries. This is the syllabus mapping, and in this video we are going to mainly focus on why it is in news, Cocos Island. It is in news because India's aircrafts, one is belonging to Air Force and another belong to the Navy. They visited this Cocos Islands, and it has some strategic significance also. In the context of China's increasing presence in Indian Ocean, we are enhancing our cooperation with Australia. In this context, this assumed a lot of significance. And Cocos Islands, where the Cocos Islands are present, and where is the location, and the strategic importance of the Cocos Island. And in this video, we are going to discuss about the India-Australia economic relations, defense relations, and bilateral relations. Apart from this, we will also discuss about recent updates regarding the India-Australia relations. These are the components you can expect. Meanwhile, tell me students, which features of Indian Constitution we borrowed from the Australia? Okay, if you know certain features, then put your answers in comments. You know that we borrowed different features from different countries. Now let us examine why it is in news. Cocos Islands, Indian Navy's Dornier maritime patrol aircraft as well as Indian Air Force C-130 transport aircraft. They both visited this Australia's Cocos Islands. They are also known as Keeling Island. First, let us see the map pointing where it is located. Let us examine the basic idea. It is present in the almost northwest part of the Australia and the South Indian Ocean. Cocos Island, it is strategically very important because more or less it is somewhat pretty much close to, in world map point of view, this Malacca state, and in the context of Chinese growing presence also, this assumed lot of significance. And India is also going after marine, marine initiative such as Sagar, string of pearls, okay, various initiatives of India in this context, they are very important. Now let us see further information regarding the Cocos Islands and India-Australia relationship. First, already we have seen where is the location, and we will further go through this location of the Cocos Islands. They are present in the Australia's external territory. External territory means they are not present on the Australia mainland. Same like Andaman Nicobar, Lakshadweep, they are out of the India's mainland. In the same way, these are also out of the Australia's mainland, like just now we have seen the map, and it is present in the southern Indian Ocean. And these are present between the Australia and Sri Lanka. Let us see here, they are present between the Australia, and if you further go here, Sri Lanka, okay, somewhere Sri Lanka, midway between the Australia and Sri Lanka, okay. Here you will find the Sri Lanka. Next, now it consists of, see here, it is very relatively close to one of the islands of Indonesia, that is Sumatra. You know that Indonesia is a archipelago group of islands where you will find islands such as Sumatra, Java, Sulawesi, Borneo. These are the ones. Now let's see, it consists of atolls and islands. This Cocos Islands consist of 2 atolls and 27 coral islands. Here as an aspirant you have to know what is the meaning of atoll. In next slide we will check how the atoll look like. So it is somewhat related to corals or volcano. We'll see. Let's see. I'll explain. So this climate, warm and humid climate you can expect, and vegetation mainly coconut plantation. From the coconut plantation they'll get the copra from this plantation. Copra is one of the product from the coconut plantation. Here we'll see the atoll. Students, atoll, first coral reefs. When coral reefs subjected to the further inundation then it will give the atoll. It's like a circularly placed corals. Okay, they are known as atolls. Here we will see the fringing reef, barrier reef, and atoll and lagoon based on how much it covered by the water. So these are the atoll, means they are the circularly placed coral reefs. Okay. Next, administration. Who are administrating? These Cocos Islands under the control of the Australian government, and Australian government is appointing senior government officials as the Australian Governor General, and they are administrating through this Cocos Island Act 1955. 1955, they became the Australia Territory through this act, Cocos Island Act 1955. In the same way, some other European countries also, they are having their territories in Indian Ocean. For example, if you see the Reunion Islands, tell me students, Reunion Islands comes under the administration of which European country? It comes under the administration of which European country? Next, if you look at the India-Australia bilateral relations, and the first thing you have to understand, both countries are the Commonwealth nations. That means obviously we had a similar type of the colonial nature. Now let us focus. Diplomatic relations are since 1941. Since 1941. In 2009, both India and Australia, they established the strategic partnership. Whereas in 2020, this strategic partnership upgraded to comprehensive strategic partnership, CSP. To further improve this comprehensive strategic partnership, both countries decided that foreign as well as the defense ministers from both nations will meet regularly. That led to 2+2 format. Listen students, 2+2 format means obviously, so both defense minister as well as the foreign ministers from each country, they'll meet. That is a 2+2 format. And India is having the 2+2 talks. The first 2+2 agreement we had with USA, then Japan and Australia, and the fourth one is Russia. These are the, with 4 countries India is having the 2+2 talks. Generally, we'll have 2+2 talks with countries we consider which are very important to us in terms of the strategic point of view. Next, India and Australia, we are having partnership with Japan with respect to trilateral supply chain resilient initiative. This is about cooperation agreements regarding the supply system in Indian Ocean, in the India Pacific Ocean. Apart from this, we'll discuss about that the Quad very soon now. Now let us focus here. The growing relation between the India and Australia is mainly attributed due to number 1, China factor. As I said in the beginning of the video, growing influence of China in the Indian Ocean. Second one, this Indian Ocean is a common theme for both the nations in terms of the transportation, in terms of the mineral exploration, in terms of the security fishing. So this is a common theme between the both nations and economic reasons. You know students, actually Australia requested primarily to join, Australia requested India to join in the RCEP, Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, just because Australian dairy products may impact Indian market. That is the reason India did not join in the RCEP. Of course, now we had a free trade agreement with Australia, and that agreement will not cover the dairy products. Okay, because if dairy products are imported into India very less expensive, that is going to be the problematic to Indian farmers. That you have to understand. Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement, CECA. Okay, after this Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement, then it will be upgraded to Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, CEPA. Then further it will be agreemented to the Free Trade Agreement, then Trade Union. So this kind of different stages are there. So they both finalized Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement in 2022 last year. This is about the upgrading of economic cooperation and trade agreements. Previously it used to be there. From here, now we agreemented to CECA. Through this, almost all 85% of the Australian exports, they are going to be experience less tariffs in India. Okay. tariffs are eliminated or less tariffs. Now we'll see in terms of the defense cooperation. In terms of the defense cooperation, both countries are cooperating in terms of maritime domain awareness as well as the subsurface domain awareness and anti-submarine warfare. All these are related to the maritime warfare. Apart from this, Australia and India, we are sharing common platforms such as Quad. Quad is the one initially, actually it was the idea of the Shinzo Abe from Japan. Quad, Australia, Japan, India and Australia, these four countries are sharing this platform. Okay. Next, in the backdrop of rapid expansion of Chinese, as I mentioned earlier, it is a very imperative that both countries should cooperate. And the mutual logistics support agreement was signed in 2020. It is about Indian, Navy bases will be used by Australia in case of emergency, and Australian Navy base also will be used by India in case of emergency. That kind of logistics also will be helped between the each countries. Not only Navy bases, anything regarding the logistics both countries are supporting. Next, joint guidance for the India-Australia Navy to Navy relations. This document also released in 2021. As I mentioned earlier, Indian Ocean is the centrality between the two nations. So this is also the somewhat meaningful. Next, both countries joint military exercise. If you look at here, exercise Astra Hind is related to Army, exercise Pitch Block, Air Force, AS Index, Navy and Malabar Navy exercise. These are some of the defense exercise both countries are participating. Next, these are some of the platforms both India and Australia are sharing commonly. Quad, Commonwealth, Indian Ocean Rim Association, ASEAN Regional Forum. ASEAN Regional Forum consists of ASEAN 10 countries plus 6 other countries. East Asia Summit, 19 countries, and supply chain resilience, as I mentioned earlier, India, Australia and Japan. These 3 countries are participating. These are some of the common platforms where both countries are sharing. Next, some of the artifacts, some of the, historically or culturally important idols which were in Australia, smuggled to Australia, or else during the British time, some artifacts, they ended up in Australia. Recently, we brought those artifacts back, such as bronze idol of Nataraja from South Australia, as well as Nagaraja stone sculpture we brought in 2020, and Dwarapala stone sculpture 2020. These are some of the Indian cultural artifacts we repatriated back to India. Next, regarding the diaspora students. Australia is one of the destination for the India skilled migrants to Australia. In 2020, after UK, Australia was the second in terms of the migrant groups. Okay, because of course during the COVID time also. So that means in terms of Indian diaspora also, Australia is very important. Now in conclusion, in the context of the rapid increasing presence of Chinese in the Indian Ocean and their increased infrastructure in the Indian Ocean, India must focus on strict surveillance in the Indian Ocean region. In this context, relations with Australia are pretty much handy to India, and in long term, India has to improve its relation with Australia, which helps to India in multiple ways. Yesterday's video question: which of the following rivers originates as well as ends in the territory of India? Which one? Chambal. This is the answer. Next we'll see today's video question. As yesterday, one more question we have seen. On which of the following river city of Ajmer is situated? Where the Ajmer is present? Luni. Okay. Next. Today's question. Today's one. Comcasa. Comcasa recently, it was in news. It is related to which country? Related to which country? Mains question. Newly Tri-Nation Partnership, AUKUS. It is mainly aiming to to counter China's ambitions in Indian Pacific region, and it is going to supersede the existing partnership in the region. Discuss the strength and impact of the AUKUS in present scenario. So more or less, so what is the impact of the AUKUS in the Indian Ocean? This is about the mains question. Now, as we reach to the end of this video, we'll see what we discussed in this video. In this video, we discussed about where the Cocos Islands are present, and how the bilateral relations between India and Australia were there, and defense cooperation, economic cooperation, and we also discussed about common defense exercise between the India and Australia, and in terms of the repatriating artifacts and Indian diaspora in Australia. So these are the areas we pretty much covered, and this is the detailed analysis regarding the Cocos Islands.